Well, today we have what I think you'll find easy stuff. Manipulating files and folders. But I don't want to just skim over that because that's an important basic computer skill. If you're if it's a little confusing or you like to pile everything in one folder, so when somebody sees your folder organization, they're going to wonder how well you are organized at the rest of your job. So remember how we can browse our folders using our File Explorer, not Internet Explorer. And we have our File Explorer, and we're going to be creating folders here and folders within them. But before we do that, we need to go onto our OneDrive and manage our folders in the cloud. Your File Explorer is for browsing your folders on your local machine. If you're connected to your OneDrive, you can actually explore your OneDrive files from a little cloud icon on your File Explorer. But that requires you to be connected, and I want to connect a different way, but then come back to this one. I'm going to go directly in my browser to connect and see my OneDrive files. Now let me know if you're having any difficulty logging in or anything. We want to go now to office.com and log into our account there. Now when you're using a browser, I like to use Chrome or Firefox as my browsers, but there's the Microsoft favorite browser. I'm going to use that just for today, just so we see how Edge works. Now I don't have Edge pinned to my taskbar. You probably do, because that's kind of a default. I'm going to start Edge by clicking on my Windows icon and type Edge, and once it's highlighted I can just hit enter, and up comes my Edge Explorer. I'm going to have Edge go to my office.com. Anything Microsoft probably plays a little nicer with Edge. I don't expect there to be errors with the others, but I'm going to use Edge for this one. I'm going to go to office.com. Go to my, I'm going to sign in, and I have my stored password. I think I remember my JSmart password. If I don't, I'm going to go to my stored password. Oh, I had my browser remember my password. Oh, and I guess I must have changed it. Let me go to my password manager, my favorite, bitwarden.com. I'm going to log in, and it remembers my email, and it remembers my password there. And I'm going to go down to my JSmart folder, and that's my Apple ID. Uh-oh. Let's see, what did I use for my jsmartoffice.com? I thought I stored it here. I might have to request a new one. Let's see, Office. Let's try that one. I don't even see the passwords. And yes, I'm using the same password as I do for my AT Manning account. And no, I'm not going to stay signed in, because I know if I stay signed in, Microsoft is going to just connect me there all the time, and sometimes it gets annoying. So I'm going to say no and don't ask me again. So here is John Smart at office.com. Now I can always go to my content and explore my files there, although I do see some files here right away when I go to my office.com. I'm going to go to my content, and now I see multiple folders there. And I can also go to Cloud Files here. And Cloud Files shows multiple folders as well as those files that I had created. I'm going to go to John Smart's files. And notice the URL takes a little bit different form. MySharePoint.com. So SharePoint is involved in your OneDrive. So I can go to my content, see my files. I can go to my OneDrive when I click on Cloud Files, And that's what I'll see in my OneDrive. Let's see what it takes now to create a folder there. So I went, logged in, saw this, clicked on my content just to see what I see, what's there, and then I went to Locations Cloud Files. And that's what got me here. So office.com, Cloud Files. Now let's see if I can create a folder here for this particular assignment. I'm going to create a new folder, add new folder, add new folder, and I'm going to call my folder cs101 sp24. And if I have one already with that name, it's going to complain. I'm going to get a fun color, purple color this time. Create. And it created one in my files, but I don't see it there. This is a little bit annoying. Why doesn't my folder I just created show up? Let's see if it shows up if I browse to the bottom. I'm not seeing it there. Let's go to my files, or let's see here. Let's go to home and see if it shows up there. No. Let's go to my files. There it is. So I created a folder. I don't know why I don't see it here when I create it. If I go to my files, now I see all my folders, and there is my SP24 file that I just created. Here's one I created last week. I'm going to go to the one I just created by just clicking on it, browsing down into it. Now is where I go to my assignment and want to see what I was supposed to create inside of that folder. Now, do I know where I am? Sometimes you have a little breadcrumbs at the top here that show you where you are. This is not telling me that I'm down inside my JSmart SP24 folder. I just have to, oh, there we go. If I go to the top, if I scroll to the top, there, that's my we call this the breadcrumbs. It shows me where I am in my files. So I have to scroll to the top. I'm using my scroll wheel, or you can grab this and click and drag that slider up and down. I like the scroll wheel better. Okay, now while we're here, now let's go back to our assignment in Schoology and see what we were supposed to do there. And I'm going to bring up my Firefox. I think he's logged in the file and folders. So in the cloud files, all we're doing is we're going to create 3 folders: Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. And then inside of those folders, we're going to create a document, a spreadsheet, and a presentation. So let's do this part first. We're going to create 3 folders in our cloud folder. Oh, I need to update this name of the folder to be 24. So let's go over to that. 3 folders: Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. How do I do that? Let's try add new folder, and let's call it Word. You can choose a color or leave it the default yellow color and click create. And there it shows up a folder, and the little sparkly there I think means it's an empty folder. It's a new folder. That's the shiny new folder. Let's try the same thing, add new folder, and create and call this one PowerPoint. And I'm going to give that a reddish color because that's the standard indicator of PowerPoint. Create. There's my PowerPoint folder. And add new, another folder. This is going to be Excel. I'm going to make it green and call it Excel. Make sure that's the name. Yeah, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And create. Let's just see, I don't need to see that, I can dismiss those. Let's see if I can change his color. Let's see, click the 3 dots, and folder color, I'm going to change his folder color to blue because that's Word's color. You don't have to give it colors, that's just having fun with it. So I have 3 folders in my cloud drive called cs101 sp24. If I want to put my name in there, let's see, if I go details, see what happened. No, I'm not going to rename it. Let's now follow the instructions now that we have those 3 folders there. Now the instructions say to create a document inside the Word, create a spreadsheet inside Excel folder, and a presentation. And it doesn't say I have to put anything in that. I'm just going to create the documents and close them inside of each of those folders. So we're practicing navigating through our cloud folders. Now if you've done any navigation, this all should be easy. This is something that make a practice of, like maybe if you're working on your computer, I don't know if you do this already, make a folder for each of your classes you're taking. If you want to keep your files organized, I'd put the year and the class number. Let's go down into, we'll start with Word. Let's go down into the Word folder. By just clicking on that navigates down into that folder. And how do I know I'm down there? Well, if I scroll to the top, I see here I'm down inside the Word folder. Inside of here, I'm going to do an add new, and guess what? I'm just going to create a Word document. It pops up a new window with my document. If you want to put your name in here, that's fine. I'll just call this practice Word document in my cloud drive. If you want to put content in there, that's fine. You don't have to. And then I'm going to close this. Notice there is no there is no save button. It's automatically saved in the cloud. I don't have to worry that, oh, suddenly I left my computer and I forgot to save it. Cloud documents typically are automatically saved. Now, it's not always the case depending on what you're running there, but in case of Word, there is no save button. And there's lots more we could learn about editing documents in the cloud. Maybe we'll have more of that in a future class as cloud becomes more and more popular. I don't know why my microphone's blinking at me. Oh, you can dictate. Okay, thank you very much for telling me that. All right, I'm going to close that tab because I'm done with that Word document. Come back to my cloud drive. There I see my document there. Oh, am I supposed to give it a particular name? I don't think I said you have to give it a name. Yep, just save it. Or it just gets created. We can use the default name. Now, how do I get back to my main folder to work with PowerPoint? Just click up here, go up to this, and this will take you back to the folder above. And now I can go down into my PowerPoint folder by just clicking on it and add new PowerPoint presentation. It creates a presentation, and I'm just going to put in here practice presentation. I'll call it cloud presentation. It doesn't look exactly like PowerPoint that we're going to be using on our PC, but it's close to it, and I can do lots of things with it. I've been using Google Slides instead of PowerPoint, but I could just as well use PowerPoint in the cloud. No save button here. I can share it. That's a cool thing I can do. And let's see, if I want to give it a name, I think if I just click up here, that would become the name of it. I'm going to call it Presentation Practice. JSmart. Just clicking on the name lets me rename it, and I think if I just hit enter, it gets the new name. And I'm done with this. I can just close the tab by clicking up here on the X of my browser tab. And, ooh, the new name doesn't show. Let me refresh and see if the new name shows. Hey, look at that. I had to refresh, clicking that little circle-y icon to refresh the page because I know I had renamed that document. And I can go back then to my main folder by clicking here. And now browse down into Excel and create a add new Excel workbook. We're going to learn all about Excel and the wonderful things we can do here. And I'm just going to start typing. I'm going to call this Practice Work Spreadsheet by JSmart. To give it a name, I can just click here on the name of it, and I'm going to call it Book. I don't know why they like book for the... Oh, it's not letting me rename it. What happened? No, I don't want to give them feedback. Thank you very much. There you go. Book and I'm going to call it book JSmart practice. Just to practice renaming things in the cloud. Hitting enter, I see the name is up there. I don't have to save it. I can just close that tab. It shows the original name. I'm going to do the refresh to verify that my new name is applied. I'd call this a little bit of a bug that if I rename it, this should automatically update to the new name, but it has to do with how browsers work. So at this point, I have a folder containing 3 folders, and in each of those folders, as I browse down in, I see I have an Excel in the one folder. Go back up or go to the previous page. Let's look at PowerPoint. Go back up or previous page. And Word, I have all my a document in each of those folders matching the folder name. Now I'm going to go back to my files now. And there is my folder that I just created that has all those files in there. This is the time now I'm ready to download the entire contents of this folder and the 3 folders in it by, let's see if I can either, I'm going to try the right click, or if the right click doesn't work, I'm going to try this. Let's try the right click and see what menu options I have. There we go. I have a download option there. Right click often gives you a good menu of things you can do with the thing you're clicking on. Let's just see what happens if I click off of the click to the ellipsis right there. Let's see if that gives me a similar menu of things. Yes, that's the same thing I got when I right click the item. So whenever you see the little ellipsis, that's a clue that maybe something good will come if I click on that, but I could just as well have right clicked and got that same menu. Here is where I want to download that folder containing subfolders, and let's see what happens when I click the download. It's thinking. Here we go. It automatically creates a zip file. Now, you may not get this popping up if you're by default saving your downloads to your downloads folder. Keep track of that. I have my browser set to always ask me for downloads where to put things. So I'm going to go to Save As, and I'm going to go put that in my, not my downloads folder, I'm going to put that in my Manning folder, in my cs101 Spring 24, and I'm going to save it in a new folder called cs101 File Practice JSmart. Now, if you don't see this pop up, what will happen is you will simply have, I'll put it in there. You will have, this folder will appear in your downloads folder. And you can always go up to this little arrow here, click on the folder icon right there, and that'll show you where that file went. For me, it shows me my folder that I created. For you, it'll probably show that this file is sitting there in your downloads folder. And that's one of the trickiest things when you download things from the internet. You wonder, well, where did they go? Well, if you haven't done anything but leave it the default settings, all your downloaded files will appear in your downloads folder. Where's my down? Right there. They'll appear in your downloads folder if you don't set your browser and have it ask you every time. I like knowing where my files go, so I have it set up to ask me every time. And the way that that's done is I come up here to my settings in my browser, and in my settings I can tell it in the downloads, always ask me, and I turn that switch on, always ask me what to do with every download. I'm always downloading tons of files, so I need to know, and I'd like to organize even where I put my downloads. Okay, at this point we have everything from our cloud downloaded to a separate folder on our PC. And I'm going to pause here just to see how you're doing so I don't run ahead, because now we're going to do local files. So I'm going to do the pause recording for a second. All this manipulation, managing files, this can be easily confusing, and where do things go? Go to my downloads folder. How do I move them from one to the other? Well, we've got through that now. Now we need to go and do the same thing but locally. Let's take a look at our instructions. The instructions now say, now that we have those folders downloaded, now we're going to go into our local file and create 4 folders locally. This time we're adding an access folder. But the other 3 are the same thing locally. So let's go to my local file browser, either clicking here, bringing up my local file browser, and let me browse over now to where I'm keeping it. You should probably have them in your documents folder. I have them in my documents folder in a slightly different place on my PC. But same thing as your documents folder, cs101. There's my folders and file practice, and there's my downloaded file. And I'm in my cs101 file practice. Here now I want to create 4 folders: Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access. And just to confuse you more, because of the way Microsoft does things and because of the history of things, there's multiple ways to create folders. There's this new right up here, new folder, and I'm going to call this folder Word. See how it highlights the letters here? As soon as you see that's highlighted, that means if I type anything, what I type is going to replace that. And I hit enter to complete the naming of that file. That's one way to create a folder. Another way is where I am over here, I can right click and guess what shows up? The new menu, and I can right click and new folder. And sometimes when you hover over things, it shows you there's a shortcut for that. In this case, it doesn't show me. And now I can type Excel. So that was the right click new instead of the menu item new. Yet there's still another way. I believe Control N also, oh no, Control N makes a new window. Now I forget what the shortcut key is. I thought it was Control M. Let's try Control M. Nope. New folder. There is a shortcut key. I might have to look that up. And I'm going to create another one called Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And I'm going to do a quick lookup. I forgot the shortcut for making a new folder. Let's look at that up on the internet. Keyboard shortcut new folder. Oh, Control Shift N. Of course, it's Control Shift N. Control Shift N, and now I have new folder. And I'm going to call that one Access. Control Shift N. See, you can tell I don't do that enough to remember that shortcut key. If you do it a lot, shortcut keys can really save you time. But the right click new is so easy, and it makes it clear to me what I'm doing. The shortcut keys can be dangerous if you hit the wrong shortcut key, and that was the delete key. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, now we have 4 folders locally. How do I know they're local? Well, part of it is I see them over here in my Documents folder, and I'm not in my OneDrive. See, I'm not over here in my OneDrive. I'm not browsing into there. I'm over here in my Manning Documents folder, and here is the breadcrumbs here in the File Explorer. Now, go down into Word. We want to create a new Word document down in here. Let's see what new. What happens here? New. Oh, look here. I can do new Microsoft Word document, and there it gives me a new document. And I guess I can. Let's see what the instructions say about what name I need to give that file. I don't remember if I need to give them special names. Oh, your name -Word. So I'm going to give it the name jsmart-word. So I can click on that and wait for the text to be highlighted, and then call that jsmart-word. All right, that was the name to give to the file. If you ever want to rename a file, you can just click on it once, wait a little bit, click on it again, and then it'll highlight the word, and you can click again to correct spelling, or just start typing again to create a new name. Now that created the document. Do I need to put anything inside the document? It doesn't say I have to put anything inside the document, so I'm not going to worry about editing it and putting something fancy in it. If I ever want to edit, I could just double click. How do I go back up? Just come here, click here, and I can go up a level back to my practice folder I'm in, or I now have this little key. This takes me up a level in my hierarchy of files. So I'm going to click here, and now I'm going to go down into the PowerPoint by just clicking on it, and then, or I can click on it and hit enter, or double click, takes me down into it. Here I'm going to do new PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to give the name jsmart-PowerPoint. I can already tell it's PowerPoint. I don't know if you're seeing this on yours. When I'm viewing files, I like to see my file extension. You're probably not seeing that. You can go to the view part and you can tell it whether or not to show file name extensions. You probably are seeing it like that. You don't see the PPTX at the end. But I like to know my complete file name, so I like to click on show and file name extensions. To me, that's very helpful, because that's how your computer knows what should be in that file is that little extension. And they hide it because unless you know what you're doing, you can mess things up if you mess with the file name extensions. I'm going to go up one level now. I don't care about the contents of the PowerPoint. I just have a PowerPoint. I'm going to go up one level using the up arrow. And now double click to go down into Excel. And I'm going to right click this time and see if I get that new menu. And there I go, new. There it is, new Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. It highlights the word, or the name of the file, so I can immediately give it a new name. I'm going to call it jsmart-excel. Hitting enter completes the name, or clicking off of it completes the renaming of it. And I'm not going to worry about the contents. I'm just going to go up one level and go down into the access folder. I'm going to click once and hit enter. That also takes me down into it, navigates down inside that folder. And I'm going to do the right click, new, access database. Now databases are special. Notice here I have two. Why do I have two? This icon and this icon. I hadn't noticed that before. I'm going to do the first one, although I think they should both do the same thing. And I'm going to give the name jsmart-database. The databases is probably the hardest part of this course, but just because databases are everywhere, we want to cover them. Don't worry about opening it, because that's very confusing how to actually manipulate databases. But I have one just by doing new database. So here's a way, either with new here, create something, or right click new. I can create files, I can alter their properties, all this stuff. You can do dangerous things. And remember, show more options came with Windows 11. We used to see the whole list, and I guess the list got too long for it to show in one right click. So show more options gives us lots of other possibilities. So when you right click on a file, if you don't see what you want here, you can always say, well, maybe it's hiding in the extra options. And then it's, oh, I can copy and paste or cut paste like we did with Allison. You can cut and paste files to cut them from one place and paste them somewhere else. Okay, now we have, let's go up one level to our folder. In this folder now, we now have 4 folders. These are local folders to our in our documents folder. Inside the subfolder cs101, cs101 file practice. And you should have 4 folders and a zip file. And now what we want to do is all these things we want to pack into one zip file. Now to do that, I need to go up one level into the folder that these are all contained in by just clicking the up arrow here, or one step back from where I am, the cs101 folder, and there's my folder that contains everything else. This is the thing that now I want to pack up and send up to Schoology. And I can always browse into this as I'm going, and to create the package of all these files, I can do new, compress zip folder, or what I like to do to make sure I'm compressing what I want, I can right click on the folder that I want to be packed up into one, right click, compress to zip file. A zip file is a special, what we call an archive of everything inside of that folder. A great way to pack everything up together into a zip folder. It automatically creates a folder with a little zipper on it. And it keeps the same name but adds the .zip to the file name, which is perfectly fine. So I'm going to hit enter or click off of it. And now I have that folder containing, if I click on that, that contains all my subfolders. But I also have this zipped up folder, and if I click on that or double click on this, I actually can browse that as though it were a folder. And the only way that I know it's not a folder but a zipped up folder is the showing of this extract all is there. Otherwise it looks like a normal folder, and I think that's very confusing. It should make a zip folder look exactly like a regular folder, because it's not. I can browse a zip file, a zipped up folder, and not know that I'm inside an archive. And the time that comes into be a problem is things like Microsoft Word don't know how to go find things inside a zip folder. But I can browse this, and the only reason I know this is a local file, I'm not seeing the extracting menu up there. But I can browse zipped up folders just like I can browse normally unzipped folders, but they're not the same. Thank you, Microsoft Windows, for making it confusing for us. This is the file that I want to upload to complete this assignment. Let's make sure that we've done everything. I'm going to go back to the assignment instructions. So I have the zipped up folder, 4 folders down inside of there. Now we compress the archive, and now we're ready to upload that zipped up folder to this assignment. So I'm going to go submit assignment as J Smart. Uh-oh, I'm not sure he was logged in. He was able to see the assignment, but his login is timed out. That's why I'm getting this message, and I don't think there's anything I can do except close the tab. Let's see. There we go. Now I have to re-log in as JSmart. Then maybe I'll see it. JSmart. Let's see if it takes me back into that folder. Folder file practice. And now let's try submitting. And there we go. Now I click on this little folder or file upload icon. Now I have to browse to where I had all those files. And I have to remember it's over here, cs101. Documents, there it is, cs101 sp24, there it is. Not the one without the zipper. I want to upload the folder that has the zipper on it. Click there and open, or just hit enter, and it'll think, and didn't take too long. And now I could add a comment here, uploading zipped archive of all the folders, including the cloud folder. So I have a zip file within a zip file. That is possible. You can have files, archives inside of archives. The cool thing about archives, you can actually assign passwords to them. So no one can open that without the password. If I click on this, I will see what I uploaded was a zipped file up to my submission. Now if you're ever on another computer and wonder, did I submit the right thing? you can always download your file and check that you submitted the right thing. If you're on another computer and you want to transfer your file, or you want to show your mom what you did, you could log in and download your assignments. There you are. You have file and folders practiced, assignment completed. Now there's plenty of things to confuse people with the folder browsing. That's why I like to spend time on this and not ignore that this is an important thing to do when you're working on a computer. Is typically you'll go to your documents folder. I have a special folder just because I create so many files with all these classes. I have a special place I keep my stuff. But your typical place where you keep your folders is in your documents folder, and then you have folders in your documents. See how I have many from multiple years. I would suggest in your documents folder, keeping it on your computer or even on your computer here, keeping a special folder for your different projects. You see, I have lots of other fun projects I've done. Sometimes when you install programs or when you use programs, the default place where they keep files is in your documents folder. Downloads folder, remember that's where things go if you haven't changed your setting into your browser. All the things you've ever downloaded are over in your downloads folder. Okay, that's the end of file and folder exploring practice. If we take a look over here on Schoology, back over here underneath assignments, there's the file and folders practice. Now there's one thing that we haven't done yet. Let's do the basic computing assignment and let's see if we have covered that one. And I'm uploading this recording to